All right, let's jump right into this. We are breaking down a really fun, comedic horror folktale today called The Pointed Gourd Witch, a story of mimicry and mischief. This comes straight from the Fairytoons animated series, and it's all about finding your true calling. We're going to follow the completely hilarious and, frankly, disastrous journey of a seriously lazy witch who just constantly tries to take the easy way out. It's a brilliant little story that perfectly mashes up spooky ghost vibes with a workplace lesson we can all kind of relate to.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the entire narrative really hinges on one big question. What happens when we leave our own work to just blindly copy others? As you'll see throughout this explainer, we get to watch this exact scenario play out. Our main character is absolutely convinced that the grass is greener on the other side, and man, that assumption leads to some incredibly chaotic, not to mention painful consequences for her.
So, Section 1. The Witch's Big Trouble.
We kick things off in the creepy Similtuli forest. Our protagonist, this witch, is literally crying her eyes out. Another ghost, Dayon, wanders over to ask what's up. And it turns out our witch is having a full-blown career crisis. She absolutely despises her job. Now, what was her job? Well, she was tasked with picking potawal. That's a pointed gourd, just a super common green vegetable. Sounds easy enough, right? But the veggies weren't actually the problem. The problem was that she had this terrible habit of showing up to the field and just falling asleep, literally snoozing instead of doing any actual work.
And, well, you know how that goes. Her boss, a senior ghost named Brahmadaitya, finally catches on. He severely scolds her for sleeping on the job and totally failing to bring these vegetables to the ghost market. But instead of, taking the feedback and doing better, she gets super defensive, she throws a tantrum, storms off, and actually quits on the spot. She decides right then and there that she's going to find something way easier to do.
Which brings us to Section 2, the attempt at fishing.
So she asks her friend Dayan what she does for a living. Dayan takes her down to a pond, effortlessly tosses out a net, and bam! Instantly pulls up this massive catch to eat and sell. To the witch, this looks like the easiest gig in the world. She immediately declares, yep, starting tomorrow, I'm a fisherwoman. But oh boy, the expectation versus reality here is rough. The very next day, she goes out, throws the net, and catches absolutely nothing. Zero. She's dragging this net from pond to pond, failing over and over. And the best part? The fish literally jump around in the water, splashing her to mock her failure. Total disaster.
So as she's standing there totally frustrated, this other ghost, Ma'am Doe, speaks up from behind her. He tells her, not every job is meant for everyone. You have to know the trick. So the crucial point is, you can't just go through the motions. You can't just mimic what someone else is doing and expect the exact same result. There's hidden skill, the tricks of the trade, that make it actually work.
But does she listen? Nope. Moving right along to Section 3, the work of digging. She turns to Mamdou and asks what his job is. He tells her he digs dirt to build ponds and widen rivers. Sounds straightforward, right? So, ignoring literally everything he just said about knowing the trick, she decides to copy him. She expects to just effortlessly scoop up the earth, but the reality? Manual labor is absolutely not her thing. She grabs this heavy hoe, swings it maybe 2 or 3 times, and the physical strain is so intense that her hands literally detach from her arms and go flying through the air with the tool. It is wild. Mamdou actually has to run over, pick up her severed hands from the dirt, and physically stick them back onto her wrists before telling her to just go find another job.
Somehow, undeterred by losing her hands, she wanders into Section 4, the vegetable selling business.
Walking down the road, she spots a female ghost who is just effortlessly selling fresh vegetables to this massive crowd of customers. The witch thinks, aha, easy money. Now, let's give her a little bit of credit here. Unlike the fishing or the digging, she actually tries to do a tiny bit of research this time. She talks to the vendor, figures out the logistics like exactly where to source the veggies, how the selling mechanics work, and what the profit margins look like. She finds a supplier, grabs a basket, and boom, she's ready to be a brilliant entrepreneur.
But those old lazy habits kick right back in. Her grand expectation was that she'd just lounge under a tree in the warm winter sun and the customers would practically throw money at her. The actual reality? Well, her knees start hurting from walking, so she sits down and immediately falls into a deep sleep, snoring incredibly loudly. And that snoring, it completely scares away all the ghost customers. Instead, a random, hungry goat wanders up and just goes to town on her entire inventory, eats everything. And to top it all off, her supplier, this really tall, intimidating ghost, shows up demanding his cut. Since she has literally no money and no vegetables, she has to run for her life.
And that chaotic escape brings us to Section 5, Cow's Milk and a Kick.
So she barely escapes the supplier and sprints all the way down to the riverbank. She's panting, completely exhausted, and that's when she spots a ghost named Gengu washing his cow. After finding out Gengu makes a really handsome profit selling milk, her greed just totally takes over. She's not even mimicking anymore, now she's actively plotting grand theft. Her master plan is to sneak into Gengu's house at night, drink all the fresh milk she wants directly from the source, untie the cow, steal it, and keep all those sweet, sweet profits for herself. So, nighttime comes, and she sneaks right into the shed.
This is absolutely the comedic climax of the whole story. Her expectation here is just ridiculous. Because she has no idea how to actually milk a cow, she thinks she can just use magic. She literally stands there chanting, "Chich cow give milk, chich cow give milk." Obviously, zero milk appears. Frustrated, she decides she's just going to drink straight from the udder like a calf. The reality? Oh man, the cow delivers this massive, powerful kick right to her face. I mean, she is sent flying backwards. Both her eyes are bruised and she gets every single one of her teeth knocked out. Just a brutally painful, humiliating defeat.
And that flying kick finally knocks some sense into her, bringing us to Section 6, the true moral of the story. Toothless, battered, and completely wiped out, the witch slowly limps her way back to her old boss Brahmadaitya. And this brilliantly illustrates just how badly she messed up. Look at this rapid-fire timeline of failure. Day 1, she totally bombs at fishing. Day 2, her literal hands fly off while trying to dig. Day 3, she loses her entire vegetable business to a goat because she couldn't stay awake. And Day 4, she gets her teeth kicked in by a cow. It's just blunder after blunder, all because she refused to do the one job she actually knew how to do.
Now, surprisingly, when she gets back, Brahmadaitya doesn't yell at her. Instead, he just drops the ultimate wisdom of the folktale. He says, every job isn't for everyone. If you copy others, everything will go wrong. Do what you know best. He spells it out for her, mimicking someone else's visible success without putting in the underlying effort, without having their specific skills. It's just a guaranteed recipe for disaster.
So, our story wraps up here. The witch finally learns her lesson the very, very hard way and totally drops the whole mimicking act. She accepts her true calling, she agrees to quit slacking off and sleeping in the field, and she goes right back to the simple task she was meant to do all along, picking those green parwal gourds. She finally gets it into her head that mastering your own lane is 1,000 times better than failing at everyone else's. Now, to stay totally faithful to our source material, the original creators at Fairy Tunes Horror Stories actually wrapped up their video with a community lucky draw, so a huge shout out to their winners: Kailash, Salman, Digant, Vinayak, Rishu, Payal, Krishna, Nadi, Noor, Ranjita, Krithika, Babili, Aisha, Serbi, and Pritham. Which brings us to the end of today's explainer. But I want to leave you with one final, really important question to chew on. What is your parwal? Think about it. In your own life, are you focusing your energy on your unique skills and doing what you actually do best? Or are you kind of like our witch here, constantly looking over your shoulder and painfully trying to copy a success that just isn't meant for you? It's definitely something to think about today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me to explore this awesome folktale. Keep leaning into your own strengths, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.